Many students are unaware that La Sierra University has a museum. Tucked away next to classrooms in Constantine Hall, it's fairly small, but it offers a space for students to unwind and learn about the many pieces of natural history on display. I especially love the various taxidermy animals that adorn their display cases. The detail and craftsmanship allows you to get closer than ever to some of the coolest creatures around. I was able to talk to the museum's founder, curator, and taxidermist, Dr. Billy Hankins, and was able to learn more about his work, this fascinating art form, and the fears he has for the medium of taxidermy.
A museum, natural history museum, is an archive to preserve what used to be, what is present, and what will later on be gone. Most people can't go out. They can't go out and see a Philippine eagle. Go to the Philippines. They're not going to go see a pair of ivory-billed woodpeckers because they're gone. But you come and see what they look like. And a lot of people today say, "Oh, you don't need a museum. You can just look on the internet." But you can't appreciate until you see the real thing. When I was a young kid, I think probably around the 6th grade, I think 10 or 11 years old. I visited my cousins. I had cousins in San Diego. We'd jump on a bus and go to the zoo, the Natural History Museum, the Museum of Man. They had a pretty much complete collection of systematic and habitats of vertebrate zoology of Southern California. And the taxidermy was quite well done, and I think that's where I got my first inspiration. And I remember saying to my cousin, I said, when I get older, I'd like to be able to do this kind of work and work in a museum. And of course, at that time, I never thought the circumstance would be such that the museum would actually come to pass.
Dr. Hankins showed me 2 different ways of taxidermy.
Sculpture taxidermy, where you sculpt, you don't stuff the specimen, you remove the skin, and you sculpt a body like in a natural pose, running, sitting, standing, whatever, and then mount the skin back on that. Then there's another method we use, freeze dry or lyophilization,
which allows for more natural positioning by freezing the specimen in a vacuum chamber in order to remove the water vapor.
That seems to attract a lot of interest, because people, I think, look at that. Hey, maybe when I die, maybe they could instead of put me in the ground and let me rot, they can preserve me, and I'd look just like one of those primates in the primate section there. With the freeze dry, we've been able to do stuff that you can't do taxidermy, like a snake, or a small lizard or snake. They always look terrible the only way you can do it. Right, you have to make a cast, make a mold. They look very like, some of those have been done 40, 50 years ago, and they're just as good as, just like the day they die, I don't know what the future's going to be, who's going to come along later on. They may say, we don't need a museum, let's get rid of it. That's a very, very, very scary thing, and not just this museum, but a lot of museums around the country. But some days the guy in the black robe and the sickle will say, hey boy, your time's up. And that's kind of scary. And what's going to be the future of this museum? Henry Winters Enchimoku, who was considered the world's greatest living taxidermist, when he was 90 years old, my sister and I, we went to his birthday party in South Dakota. And when I was leaving, I said, I'm going to come back for your 91st birthday. And he says, no. I said, I'm walking on. he was crying when he says, Billy, he says, you're only one of the few people doing museums. He says, carry it on. He said, he gave me the challenge. I remember one morning I woke up and I saw a raven, the shadow of a raven, come up in front of my window. And then he was on top of my roof. He go, tap, tap. I told my sister, I said, give me my pellet gun. That raven was trying to punch a hole in the roof. And then I thought, uh-oh, he brought a message to me. And the Indian was, and I thought of Henry. So I got up and called his wife. I said, is Henry there? She said, no, Billy, I'm sad to tell you, he just made the transition. He just passed away. You know, that bird brought a message, you know. And they tell us, the elders tell us that things like that happen, you know, if you're connected with your environment.
This museum is a hidden gem. It's a monument to a dying art form. My conversations with Dr. Hankins have given me new insight into the world of taxidermy. I encourage you to look into places that you often pass by. You never know what hidden gems you can find. I certainly didn't. But we've only scratched the surface of the museum. There's so much more it has to offer. If you're around La Sierra University, make sure to stop by the Natural History Museum and learn more about this incredible place.